to be honest, don't really know what I'm doing.
He was often a player that I would buy on Football Manager.
It's already a terrible reason.
From Jon Snow, Matt puts Dan's wardrobe to shame.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Look at him, the cat that got the cream.
Ian Taylor said it was the worst thing he'd ever seen in his life.
My theory on referees is you give them the nicest changing room in the stadium.
It's just the most bizarre thing I've ever
Hear me out.
I cannot believe Gabriel Bondahor's
That's crazy,
That's
isn't it?
terrible. Yeah, we may well have lost listeners early doors again with a long-winded intro. Go, shoot. Hello, welcome to the Villa View podcast, Season 2, Episode 1. What I've done there is it's made our podcast sound better than it is because it's like it's been renewed. For another season, like someone somewhere's made a decision that we can get a second series, when in reality we've just said, shall we do it again? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. We got a bit bored and we were like, do you want to get back in the podcast? In reality, actually, after the terrible podcast that we had from after the playoff loss,
I think we actually managed to do a good podcast out of that misery, though, to be fair.
I mean, it's an opinion-based thing.
I'll never watch it.
No. But I kind of wanted to get straight back in because felt like there's so much to talk about. We decided not to for the sake of our sanity, I think, and our exhaustion. And now we're back. I'd like to say I feel fresh, but I do today. I feel quite tired.
Well, yeah, you've had to sleep on the train.
Yeah, a little sleep.
Worth noting that Tom has come in with a new mentality to Season 2 since we've been renewed. Season 2 of the podcast. I'll let you congratulate yourself.
I'm early. I was early.
It's not early now.
Yeah. Dan, I texted Dan when I was going to arrive. He said fine, and then when I said I'm arriving in 2-3 minutes, he was like, I'm not ready.
I overestimated how long it would take me to make an omelette and beans.
Right.
That was the issue, because there's so much healthy stuff in our flat due to my wife. I was struggling for the basic ingredients to make an omelette. Like I needed some milk and I wasn't milk, so I ended up using this coconut stuff. So it took me longer to make an omelette than it should have done.
Right.
That's my excuse.
Okay.
Maybe I'll be late every time this year. This season.
Every time.
I think pretty much you were late 95% of the time last season.
3 minutes in, and welcome to the Villa View podcast. It's Season 2, and we're back.
Yeah. We've already done the intro, Tom. I don't know why you're doing it. I don't know why you're feeling the need to do it again.
Should we start again?
Yeah, no. It's fine.
So
live.
There's a lot to talk about, isn't there?
Too much.
A lot of which we don't. Let's get the disclaimer out now. We don't know all of it. We're not privy to those conversations that are going on now. Dan and I have differing views on what's going on, and we'll get into some of that as well. You're going to have different views as well to us. That's what the beauty of this.
Yeah, let's not have any hate, though.
Yeah,
let's all get along this season.
Yeah, let's try. Well, we're going to have to.
It's going to be a difficult season, I think.
We're all going to have to chip in together at this point.
Yeah.
But there is a lot to talk about, and we're not going to talk about everything this week as well, because we've got the pre-season and we've got the summer camp in Portugal, all that kind of stuff. But we're gonna start pretty much where things left off after the playoff final, and basically when it all turned sour.
It really did.
So the state of the club.
Is that like your diary there of like what? Dear diary today, Keith Winers.
Dear one at Villa Park.
Good impression.
Was it?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I was pretty pleased with that.
Well, you interrupted it twice.
Sorry. Because I expected it to be bad.
Did you?
Yeah.
Keith Winers has gone. Steve Round, gone. Tony, acting CEO. Luke Organ, still around and stepping up by all accounts.
Yep.
Villain's Ho, still there.
Couldn't call him by his proper name.
No.
Villain's Home. That's what he's called on Twitter.
Twitter. Yeah,
I don't think he signs documents at Villa Park. Villain's Home.
That'd be good,
I wouldn't imagine.
So let's get into it. First of all, Keith Winers was the first one to go. It quickly transpired that Villa was a crock of a club because we had absolutely no money, no plan. We missed out on the playoff final. We missed out on the Premier League, and by all accounts, Keith Winers was trying to negotiate some administration deals, or potentially going behind Dr.
Trying to
Tony's
get us
back.
into administration.
Yeah, whether he thought that was the best decision for the club or not, we literally have no idea. But he's gone.
Yeah.
Now, we as the Villa View had Keith Winers on. He spoke to us, or he spoke to you and Matt.
Yeah.
At that point, he was talking about all sorts of future.
Start of the season, wasn't it? It was just before the first game of last season.
Yeah, the optimism around the club and putting into to plan these new plans for Villa, and he's talked about a plan B in the past, and there was absolutely no plan B.
No, the B seems to have stood for bull.
Yeah.
in this circumstance, obviously we interviewed him, and I believed what he said. But I had no reason not obviously I'm not seeing any documentation at this stage, or ever. But I believed in what he was saying, that there was a plan B for not going up, but it appears that there was absolutely not a plan B at all. I mean, I think it transpired that, so I should say it was in the papers, wasn't it, that a few days before he was basically saying to everyone, unless we go up, we're in big trouble here. So he obviously got a bit, if that did happen, he got a bit twitchy in the days leading up to the playoffs, because he kept a poker face around that through the whole campaign. He was obviously very confident that the work they'd put in and what they'd done would guarantee promotion, but ultimately it didn't. And now, obviously, him coming back and suing the club it leaves a bit of a bad taste, to be honest. If he's been part of leaving this club in financial distress, to come in and then sue the club for £6 million for someone who's supposed to be a football man, I think that shows only looking after himself. But maybe he knows he's not going to get another job in football after this. I think by all accounts he wasn't that popular with the Everton fans either, so that they weren't surprised. I was a bit surprised that a football club could have no plan B.
I think it's absolutely abysmal that we had no plan B. The whole thing where we missed a tax payment, and I think most Villa fans were aware that if we didn't go up with financial fair play, the belt was going to have to be tightened.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think anybody was burying their head in the sands on that one. I think it's the extent to which we have completely been misled here, not necessarily just by Keith Wyness. We will all fall down on different opinions here, but the fact that we seem to have been led a merry dance about how everything was good and proper, and actually as soon as the playoff whistle, the final whistle goes and we're not up, the whole thing has fallen in on itself.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way of describing it. I do feel as if things aren't quite as bad as has been made out. Really? In some parts of the press. I'm not basing that on anything. I just have this feeling that it's not. I thought Dr. Tony, I think the statement should have come earlier, the one he made recently, Dr. Tony, but I thought that alleviated things a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought there was some reasonable stuff in there. I was glad he came out and said something.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking here of the letter that he wrote to the fans last week, thanking them for the patience, talking about potential minority owners and stuff coming in. That really should have come in 5.5 weeks ago. You know, we lose the playoff final, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, if the club was well run and had at least some sort of semblance of a plan, the owner should have come out and said exactly what he said here 5.5 weeks ago. Obviously not with the minority shareholders, but saying that we are looking for investment, all this kind of stuff. I don't see the advantage of waiting, apart from the fact that he just didn't have a clue what was going on, which seems shocking to me.
I mean, he did a couple of tweets that probably he was trying to appease supporters a little bit, but all that did was
frustrate people,
increase speculation, because it didn't really explain anything. Fans wanted what he's come out and done.
And he makes a
last
rob.
Week.
Dr. Tony here, he makes a rob for his own back there, because he's tweeted all the way through the season saying how much he loves the club, all that kind of stuff, which is great. And I, for one, I'm not going to turn around and be a hypocrite here. I loved the fact that he was doing that. And then to just not tweet for 6 weeks, apart from 2 cryptic tweets that don't really say anything, that's where you get a bit of a problem and a disconnect with the fans, because they want to hear from you, because they've heard from you all season when it's relatively good, at least.
It was good last. I know we didn't go up. Yeah, I know we didn't get automatic, but no one can turn around to me and say that was a bad season.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
It's a failure, undoubtedly a failure. But I don't look back on a season and think that was a bad season.
Totally agree. But some people will say, maybe,
loads of people.
Maybe where I'm
Tons
referencing a horrible December or whatever. Tony was still tweeting through that.
Yeah.
This is cataclysmically worse.
I mean, I do think, should he have perhaps been more aware of what was going on? I think there's no way past that. He'd probably say that himself. But I do think he's put a lot of trust in others, and ultimately I don't think they were up to the job, and I think they've let him down. That's what I think.
I think that's tough. I think as an owner, the buck stops with you.
Ultimately, it does. It's like when you lose football games, the buck stops with the manager. So if things have gone wrong behind the scenes, which they have, the buck does stop with him.
Yeah.
But I think he's trusted people heavily,
right?
And I believe he's been let down. I spent a little bit of time with Dr. Tony, not loads by any stretch of the imagination, but a little bit of time with him.
Yep.
And I can tell you, he is a good man, 100%, and he genuinely loves Villa. He'll say himself things have not gone as he planned. Us not going up has obviously caused a ton of problems. Maybe he didn't realise the extent of the problems. Maybe he should have done, but it looks like he didn't realise the extent of the mess we were in. That's why round and minus aren't here anymore, because of those failures.
It seems to me that it's very worrying that you have the nous and the ability to create $1 billion industry, and yet you don't have the plans in place to protect any of those assets. You don't have the structure in place that you would have weekly, monthly meetings to find out, what's happening, or once we're into the playoffs, there's a 75% chance we're not going to go up here. What's the plan when we don't go up, kind of thing. Do you know how a successful businessman doesn't have these I don't know, catches in place? I'm not a man with words, not a trained journalist anymore. How you don't protect yourself and your business assets, and to say that he's naive, I think is a naive thing to say. Just because
that's just my opinion.
Yeah, it is your opinion, but that frustrates me even more because he's a obviously savvy businessman. Seems like a nice guy, like we said there. I've never met him, but I liked how he was tweeting. I liked how he was involved with the club. And if this season is as bad as some people think it is, and I know you've already said that you don't think it will be, and it might not be. We're still waiting to find that out. Nobody knows. If it is as bad, then it is. It's not solely on him, but he is the man that will be responsible for taking our club down again.
The trouble is, a bad season now, he's not going up, and it will forever be. Every season in the Championship will be a bad season until we're back in the Premier League. Like I say, many people say last season was a bad season, and ultimately, yeah, we didn't go up. It's a failure. So I suppose that if it's a failure, it's a bad season. But you can't say you sat there through the whole season being miserable because you didn't. But I think every season.
I'm not saying that.
No, you're not. Yeah, but there will be people that say from now on until we go up, every season will be classed as a bad season.
Well, I've got the letter here, and. So he says, with that comes a reality check over performance and expectation for the season ahead, but also the opportunity to work smartly in the transfer market, bring through young talent and draw on the experience of our manager. So we're talking about a bad season. What would you class, at this point, without us knowing totally what's going on, whether we're going to get anyone in the next month or how many players we're going to lose, what would you class as a bad season?
If you're in a relegation battle, that's a bad season.
Yeah.
If you're not fighting for anything, I would class that as a bad season.
Yeah,
you've got to be aiming. Whatever happens, you look at Cardiff. Cardiff have gone up. Their side was not that good, but they've gone up because Warnock's operated in a certain way, and he's got them up. You can go up in the Championship without spending millions. I think because Cardiff have done it, so it can be done. So for me, I look at our squad that's there at the moment. If we started the season tomorrow, I think we'd be okay because I think we've got Grealish, we've got Chester, we've got Connor, Andre Green coming back, Albert Adoma was top scorer, Codgers actually having his first pre-season at Villa that he's ever had. So I actually think if you look at that team on paper, if you could avoid any massive injuries, you'd be okay. I think you'd be challenging the top six. I'm not saying you'd definitely be top six, but I'm saying you'd be challenging it. To me, a failure would be. It's hard to say until I know who's going to be here and who's not going to be here. And in 4 weeks' time, with the transfer window shutting early, we will know exactly who's at the club and exactly what's going on.
With that comes a reality check over performance and expectation. So he's saying work smartly here in the transfer market. To me, that sounds like we're not getting anybody in.
We will get people in, but there'll be free transfers.
There'll be free transfers, but that's slightly more concerning because I don't want to fill our squad with necessarily with free transfers. I'd like to keep some of the older players. I'm very much realistic in who I think we'll probably get rid of, or we'll have to get rid of. But there will be some old heads that will stay, and that's great.
Well, we've got old heads already, haven't we? The problem is I think they're the only kind of people we're going to be able to sign.
Well, exactly, but then it would be nicer to see the young talent brought through. It's just whether they can then, and whether the fans will be happy with ultimately a season where you might be in with a sniff of the playoffs, but actually you finish 10th, finishing 4 points out of the playoffs. Is that where does that? And that's a question for Villa fans. Where does that sit with you? Do you feel like that's going to be a failed season, or is actually that a stepping stone to getting better as long as we blood the right players?
Yeah, I mean, first off, there's Villa fans that throughout the entirety of last season were saying it's a bad season, that we're never happy. So those people are going to be unhappy throughout this campaign, I would suggest, and there'll be others on top of that. I said about challenging. I could take not challenging.
Oh.
Why are you even trying to open that now?
I'm really thirsty.
I could take not challenging if I knew that the team was going to be filled full of young players and we were blooding players. I think most fans would completely understand that that's the situation we're in now. But I'm still not. I think there's enough players there at the moment that we still might not go that way.
What, and not so you wouldn't bring, not you, one wouldn't bring necessarily players in, but we've still got enough.
No, we need a couple of players.
So realistically, who did, we've got a load of questions about this, so I'm not going to rattle off everybody's name, but the players that are likely to go, let's say, whether anything's happened with them yet or not. Jack Grealish, likely to go. James Chester, likely to go.
I'm not sure about Chester. Would he want to go?
I would think that he possibly would.
If Brighton coming for him, is that? I know it's Premier League, but is that a move where you think, oh yeah, I'd much rather go and play for Brighton than Villa, or does he think I'm captain of Aston Villa? I want to stay. I want to be captain of the club. I mean, it's worth saying. Chester, Grealish, they might not have a choice. If the club say we need to sell you to stay afloat, then no player is going to turn around and turn down going elsewhere for more money. It's not going to happen, is it?
No, or the same money if they're worried about being paid.
I'd be shocked if they didn't go elsewhere. I mean, Jack's not on mega wage at all.
So. Well, there's some that are going up in their career. James Chester I would class as in his kind of prime at this point, so he's probably not worth much more.
I still
than
think he'd get a jump. I mean, a player gets a signing on fee immediately. After signing, don't they? So they're automatically richer by signing for a new team than they are staying straight off the bat.
And the fear also weighs in a little bit, I would imagine. Hopefully the players know a little bit more than I do at this point.
I wouldn't say they probably do.
Right, well, yeah, but that's it. That's exactly it. So if they're worried about their careers and not being paid, I saw it at Hearts when I was up at university up there, that like Hearts and the families, and they're not on huge money, and they're not getting paid for weeks and months on end. That's a big concern. So if somebody comes in, say at Brighton, and says, we can offer you stability and Premier League football, that's probably quite a nice offer.
I mean, I don't see it getting to that. I've been wrong before. I don't see it getting to that. No. I don't know whether you do.
I don't, because I don't know.
No.
But I'm just trying to think from a player's point of view as to James Chester, not a Villa, not a Jack Grealish. Wasn't raised by the club.
I think he's got an affinity to the club now.
Yeah, he does. Sure. But there's a point where a line is crossed there, and if part of that is, and I know he's a millionaire footballer, so I'm not trying to make anybody feel particularly sorry for him, but he still has a life to pay. He's still got do you know what I mean? And if the opportunity came to play for a mid to low Premier League club, then I don't see why he necessarily wouldn't take it. And like you said before, it might not come down to him.
I mean, Grealish is the main one, isn't it? Because the fact is he's going to bring in the most money, but the team that's been heavily linked with him is Spurs, and we know what Daniel Levy's like. He will probably, if Villa don't accept 20 million, for example, he'll go away. He's not going to come back and say, okay. Well, mind you, they did pay 30 million for Sissoko.
Spurs seems like an interesting move for Grealish because there's so many players in that. I mean, I think Jack Grealish is a phenomenal talent, and I'd love to see him playing at a top 4 club. But Spurs is a difficult place to get into, and Pochettino has a raft of young and essentially British core. I just don't see him getting straight into that. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe the way he trains would prove everyone.
I mean, I think you put him in a better team and he takes it up even more levels than he already has. He was phenomenal last season. As soon as he came back from injury, he was a different level to anything else in the Championship. So I think he goes to Spurs, and I think he probably gets in the team. I think there's rumours that Dembele isn't going to sign a new contract and that he'll probably move on. Jack's now a number 8. He's not a number 10. He plays in a number 8 role, so there's a vacancy there, I would say. It's a big shout here about to come out. It wouldn't be the Villa View podcast without a big shout. And it's the kind of thing Dolan would say.
Right.
But I think Jack Grealish is a better footballer than Dele Alli. I'm not saying he's a better player. I'm saying he's a better footballer. I think he's got a bit more about him. But Ali's, I know what I'm trying to say, and I'm not sure I'm getting out right. Obviously, Dele Alli plays for England. He's a very, very good player, but would you look at Dele Alli and say, oh, he's better at dribbling than Jack?
No.
Is he better at passing than Jack?
He's pretty good at passing.
Is he better than Jack?
Let's say a par.
Okay. So I think Jack's in the realms of that. I think he could go on and be better than Dele Alli. That's what I think.
I mean, I think we're slightly skewed. Well, you might be slightly skewed here in that Dele Alli's not had the best World Cup. He's been a little bit injured.
Dele Alli's a phenomenal player. I'm not saying that, but I think Jack's a phenomenal player.
Yeah, agreed.
That's what I'm saying. I'm comparing him, but actually, as I'm saying, Jack's a number 8 now. He's not a number 10 anymore. I mean, he may go on and play number 10 in his career. He might go to a new team and they say to him, "We want you to play number 10." He's not going to go, "No, I'm not having that. I'm a number 8." He'd play the number 10 position, but I don't think he wants to go.
Yeah,
I think he'd give Villa another year, but I think he'd probably had been hoping that if he was giving Villa another year, John Terry was giving Villa another year.
Yeah.
We got Robert Snodgrass on loan for another year. Sam Johnston was here for another year. So obviously those things haven't happened. So he might be looking around and thinking, we're going to be struggling a little bit here, because I did feel like tactically in the playoff final a little bit, it did feel a bit like, let's give the ball to Jack Grealish and see what he can do. And he very nearly scored that Maradona-esque goal for us, to be fair to him. But we're a poorer side without him, and him going would be the worst I've ever felt about us selling anyone. And I felt pretty bad when we sold Gareth Barry. I felt bad when we sold Dwight York, Gareth Southgate. They all hurt. I mean, I was a kid, to be fair, for York. But they all hurt me. Yeah. This would hurt more because I know that he is a genuine 100% Villa fan and loves the club dearly. But if someone says to him, to save the club, Jack, financially, we need you to go, even if you want to stay, he obviously does not want to hurt the club, and he will go.
All right, let's talk about some others. Johnny Codger. Do you think he's a saleable asset?
I think he was more so a year ago.
Yeah.
I think there'd be people concerned about his injuries.
Yeah.
I think when he did play last season, he was nowhere near the level. I think that comes with being unfit. I think he was nowhere near the level he was, obviously, when he scored 19 Championship goals. One day I'll not go to say Premier League about Villa, because I've been saying it for the majority of my life. I still always want to say Premier League.
It's okay, mate.
It's seen him being linked with Leeds. Are they going to go? And I'd imagine we'd want at least 10 million for Codger. He's 29, isn't he, Codger?
Do you think...
I don't think, unless someone from China or something comes in for him, I don't see him going.
Sarah, do you think that Villa will actually get 10 million for Codger?
No.
But do you think that then they would take 6 million? Like, I mean, that's 40% cheaper.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how bad the finances are. It's, for example, Hogan's been linked with Sheffield United.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know anything about Sheffield United's wage structure, but I'm imagining it's pretty low.
Yeah.
Although they've just sold Brooks for relatively big money to Bournemouth, haven't they? About 12 million.
Right.
That's the other thing. If he's going for 10-12 million, Grealish is worth at least double that.
Yeah.
He didn't even get the Sheffield United side for most of last season. They're buying potential, but that's what you're buying with Jack.
Yeah.
Plus, he's played Premier League football and he's destroyed the Championship last season.
Yeah.
So I think he's worth at least 30. Completely forgotten who we were talking about.
Hogan,
yeah. So if Sheffield United want to buy him, we paid 12 million or whatever we paid for Hogan. They're only going to be able to pay maybe 4 million at best for him. And if he's on the money I think he's in, Sheffield United are going to have to turn around to Villa and say, well, we need you to contribute 50% at least of his wages for the remainder of his contract with you as well. We aren't going to do that, surely. I know we need money, but we aren't going to do that, surely, because it makes no sense. You're better off trying to integrate him and get the best out of him and get yourself to the Premier League.
It doesn't make sense, you're right. But again, it kind of comes back to this point where, and I'm sorry if you're watching this just going, this is so frustrating, because it's frustrating being here as well, but we don't know how bad those finances are, and if that makes a net profit in the end, then it will probably be done. Who's the player that we took we were supposed to get a sell-on fee from, and then we took a ridiculous cut on that. I've got Albrighton in my head, but it wasn't Albrighton. No, it was centre midfielder. Westwood, yeah. Thank you. Goodness me.
Now, was that we just asked for an instalment early?
We asked for it all early, but it was much
less.
reduced.
Yeah. That probably doesn't paint the best picture of the finances.
This is it.
Yeah,
This is
okay, fair. I'd forgotten about that, so that's fair.
Where it all comes to a head.
I don't know. I should say at this point that we've tried to get, not just us, my old man said, Vital Villa, all the people that are in the fans consultation group, we are trying to get a meeting with the club, and it hasn't managed to be one arranged yet. And really, to get any answers, we need that. But I'd imagine with some of the personalities in there, it could be quite a fruity meeting.
Yeah, and yeah, for sure. And is that the best? Like, think about this because just to peel back the curtain a second, we've had a fair few tweets just saying, why aren't you saying this? Why aren't you addressing this? Why haven't you spoken to these people? The club don't necessarily want to share all of this information because it might affect various prices of things. So it's not a great surprise that they haven't. It's frustrating, but it's not a great surprise that they haven't shared all of it.
Yeah. The other thing is, if they have a meeting with the fans from that meeting, usual process is the fans share that information. If Villa don't want us to share that information, it would get back to the press, and then the press would start reporting things. The press exaggerate things. I should say again, despite the state we're in, obviously not good, but the press have been a joke all through the summer because they don't know anything. They get sniffs of things. They've not really known the absolute facts, and the reporting there's a lot of things being reported that probably aren't true.
Yeah, it's yes.
That's the other thing about us saying things. Yeah. I don't want to come out and say something that's not true just because I've heard something.
Yeah,
it's difficult.
Yeah, and that's what I kind of keep going back to. Just apologising essentially is because we don't know a huge amount, and we're trying to get there, and we're trying to work it all out, and we're using little bits of information that we've got here.
Yeah, and we are talking. It's not like we haven't spoken to anyone from the club because we have, and we're trying to get information. But unless it's concrete, I'm not going to deliver anything because it would be stupid of me and naive of me to do that.
Unless Marlon Hale wants to reach out and we could talk to you.
Just can't get him, can we?
That'd be great.
I'd have something to say, but you've distracted me by mentioning Marlon early on in season 2 of the podcast.
Yeah, it's going to be a feature, I think.
I was going to say, obviously, we got some information off Winus that we shared for an interview.
Yeah,
and it was a lie. That's the other thing. Like, you can't. If I ask someone for information, it could be false.
The transfer window closes a month today.
As I said to you earlier, it feels like it hasn't opened, really, doesn't it?
Do you think we'll notice?
That's the circumstance that we're in.
Do you think that? I mean, I was really pleased that the transfer window was going to close before the season started. I thought it was a nice move. Is that now going to cost us a little bit because we can't put people like Codger and others who haven't been fit for the whole season in the shop window a little bit more? Like, imagine Codger banged in 2 in his first game.
Pre-season.
No, because that's against Tamworth.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
He scores 2 against Hull, and then he's instantly a lot more valuable.
Yeah, and some Premier League team who's lost their first few games panics and thinks we need a goal scorer.
Exactly.
Yeah, that probably will cost us.
Yeah, so that's not great.
I'd say what I will say, though, is if we need to shift people, time's running out. There's only about 4 weeks left. Yeah. The window. I mean, obviously the World Cup's going on at the moment. It doesn't feel like anyone's making major moves, or probably more stuff's happened in the Championship than I can remember. Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel like it. I know Forest have done a fair bit of
Leicester
business.
Madison's Norwich.
Gone from Norwich. I'm not thinking Premier League now. Yeah. I'm thinking who in the Championship who's done business. Because Forest have linked up with Mendes a little bit, haven't they?
Yeah.
That's not good news because that worked well for Wolves. Right. So chances are it'll work well for Forest.
But
then you look at financial fair play. Well, Forest getting $6 million for Lewis Grabner. Why can they spend $6 million? Financial. Cause that's another thing we haven't spoke about. The actual financial fair play rules are costing us a little bit because we can't fall within a certain parameter with money. That's one of the reasons we've got to cut back.
Well, yeah, but we knew that. It's not like that's just...
No, but the rules are stupid is what I'm saying. Well, a bit harsh. They don't benefit anyone.
The rules benefit those that are already in and those that can bounce back straight away, don't they, essentially?
Yeah.
It maintains the status quo a little bit, which should have benefited Villa.
Yeah, well, we obviously spent... Obviously, the first 3 signings we made, when Dr. Tony came in and Di Matteo came in, were McCormack, Tishabola and Galena. And none of them will play for Villa again.
Yeah.
And they were pretty expensive.
That was one of the questions we got. Ross McCormack, does he get his... Because we're not going to be able to shift him. Do you think he gets his chance in pre-season?
No.
No?
As I understand it, as long as Steve Bruce is there, McCormack won't ever play.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
should we go on to Bruce for a second? Yeah. Before we get on to the fun things, because there have been fun things that have happened.
Is there?
Well,
the kit is nice.
Spoiler alert, we like the kit.
Yeah.
Steve Bruce, he divided people all last season and the season before.
And will continue to.
And will continue to. You and I were both ardent supporters of Bruce, especially given what he went through, but on the pitch, he got the results majoritively.
Except when he mattered.
except the last one. Are you happy that he's still here?
I'm a little surprised he's still here in the fact of he walked away from Hull when they were in a bit of disarray because he wasn't happy with what was going on. So I can't imagine he's chuffed with what's going on at Villa at the moment. It remains to be seen. Like he, probably one of the reasons he's not walked away from Villa isn't it's the same. I'm not just pigeonholing Bruce here. It would be the same for any football manager at any club. Managers don't really walk away now because they lose out on money. If they walk away, it very, very rarely happens. If he's on a good contract at Villa, he isn't going to walk away from that. I don't think we did want to sack him, but if we did sack him, we'd have to pay him that money, and I don't think we can afford to pay him that money. So from that respect, I'm not surprised he's still here. I think if our backs are going to be up against the wall all season, then if we're not going to be challenging, maybe he's a safe pair of hands in that we won't get dragged into an absolute relegation battle. But even in his time here so far, that we've had runs where we win games. Even in his first season when he took over, we went on a great run of 5 or 6. When he first took over, where we didn't lose, we had another spell. We then went on a horrible spell and then went on a good spell straight after that. Yeah. So he's shown that his teams are capable of having really good runs, but they're also capable.
That's runs.
That's a Villa problem though. That's been the same. I feel like that's been the same with every manager. Again, bringing him up in the first podcast of the new season, but Martin O'Neill was the same. We'd have unbelievable runs, and then at the end of the season, the wheels would fall off. So that's been a problem for every Villa. John Gregory had it. It's been a problem for every Villa manager since I've been on this planet.
One of the good, I would say, one of the advantages of having Bruce still is that he knows so many managers. I think we said this at the end of last season, in that if we do need to rely on some loan players, which we undoubtedly will, he is a canny manager. He knows a lot of other managers, and he'll be able to bring in some of these guys. Whether that'll obstruct some of the youth players that we've got again, which was a criticism of him last year, that remains to be seen. But if we do need some experienced heads, then he's probably the one that's going to be able to bring those in.
Well, he's in charge of the transfers now fully, isn't he? Although I think he probably had a pretty big say. He had final say. Yeah. Before, didn't he? We do need loan players. I'd suggest we need a goal scorer possibly. I'd like Tammy Abraham. He hasn't gone anywhere yet, I don't think. Tammy Abraham on loan, and I was thinking in my head at the start of the summer, John Terry will have a little bit of an affinity to Villa now. He might say to Tammy, "You should go to Villa. That would be a good place for you. You've not had a good time in the Premier League with Swansea. Go to Villa. You'll score 20 goals again, like you did at Bristol, and then you'll be ready for the Premier League off the back of a bad season." But the trouble is, Lampard's now Derby manager, so is John Terry now going to Lampard and saying, "I think you should probably sign Tammy Abraham"? Because if Tammy Abraham looks at Villa at the moment, looks at Derby with the manager, in fact Lampard, that he's being a Chelsea boy, he probably really respects. Yep. Probably a hero. He's going to go to Derby, isn't he? Yeah. I suggest we need a centre back, a central midfielder, possibly a wide player. Maybe a goalkeeper.
Well, I was going to come on to goalkeepers.
And a striker.
Lots of people talking about Jed Steer at this point. We've got Sarkic as well, young player. Bunn still around.
Yeah, he's got another year, bud.
Jed Steer.
He's got a funny toe as well. I don't know whether you've been keeping up with that on Instagram.
I'm not on Instagram, am I?
Henry Lansbury keeps posting videos of Mark Bunn's toe.
Really?
And it is a freakish toe.
What's wrong with it?
I don't even know how to explain it. It kind of like curls over.
The big toe?
Yeah, it like curls over his second. I'm doing this like this is a foot.
Right,
and you're taking it on. Yeah, the big toe goes over the second toe in quite a funny way, a bit crooked. A bit of a dodgy nail as well, I would say.
Oh, really? Dead one?
So, looks a bit dead. Yeah. Like your haircut.
Thank you.
You set me up.
Season 2?
Yeah, you absolutely set me up a treat there. You said yourself your hair would look dead when you got in.
I meant to have a haircut.
Yeah, I did too. So, yeah, Mark Bunn's got a funny toe. I don't think that affects his goalkeeping.
My wife won't like me for telling you in the podcast.
She won't know, will she?
Well, no, that's true. My mum will, though. She might tell
Your mum might grass.
Because
she's carrying her
grandson.
Big
Yeah.
reveal.
Yeah.
Tom's having a boy. Baby Marlon.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like we should make more of that news. I feel like it's just been like added in a little bit whilst we talk about something else. But this is what I think would happen if I ever got Ange pregnant. I think my mum would be very protective over Ange rather than me.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like your mum will be more protective over your wife than you now.
Well, it's not my mum's first grandchildren. That's important to remember.
Grandchild.
Yeah. So she's already got a grandson and a granddaughter,
okay.
so all bases are covered from my oldest sister.
Yeah.
But having said
this
that,
is her little boy's.
yeah, that's true. I am her only son.
Your only boy. And I imagine she's had problems with you growing up, like worrying about whether you'd ever like make any friends and things, things like that. So you're a little poppet, I would imagine.
I am a special son.
So there we go. So
sure.
This is going to be a special grandchild for her. But I think she'll probably be like really protective of your wife. But tell the story because I want to hear it now. And I'm sure the 3 people that are left listening to this podcast want to hear the story as well.
I am surprised that this podcast has been so rambly from early.
I feel out of practice.
Anyway, so my wife's toes, they go out like this. They're like just the second one, or so you got the big toe, and then the second ones they like bend round like claws over the longest one that should be.
Ooh.
Oh, it's horrible. And then the smallest ones don't have any nails. They're so small.
That's horrible.
She's gonna hate me. Mum's definitely gonna tell her.
Weird toes as well.
Oh, go on.
Bet she can do the peace sign with her middle toes. Yeah.
If you've got any weird foot things, not that weird, but just weird enough, like let us know in the comments. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like feet. Not a feet person.
No.
So looking at Henry Lansbury's Instagram is not a comfortable watch for me at the moment because he keeps just posting Mark Bunn's feet. I think Mark Bunn's getting a bit annoyed with it.
Is he?
Yeah.
Right.
But his spirits seem high.
Good. Right. Jed Steer.
Yeah.
Think he's good enough for the championship?
Well, he's proved before with Huddersfield for a season that he's good enough for the championship. So the only thing with Steer is he gets injured a lot, especially for a goalkeeper. And they're always bad injuries.
Yeah.
Not just little niggles. He gets bad injuries. So that would worry me about him. I couldn't tell you whether Sarkic is ready. And Bunn's been a backup everywhere he's ever been, so I'd say he's competent to be a backup, but I wouldn't want him to be number one for the whole season because he's never done it. Although saying that, he was very good the last game of the season at Millwall. Saved a penalty. I thought he put in a good performance. But I don't think he's a bad goalkeeper. I just think he's never been a number one.
Yeah.
I think he's actually a good shot stopper.
He's also good for the young guys because I think, if I'm not mistaken, he has his own coaching academy. He's obviously a senior pro that is used to being.
Well,
a
he
backup.
keeps getting another year, doesn't he, Bunn? Because
Exactly.
you always think he's off that summer and then he gets another year.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see how he works with more with Steer, but then with Sarkic as well.
Yeah.
If Sarkic plays a little bit more into the first team training,
I mean, if we keep it the way it is with the goalkeepers, Steer was ahead of Bunn last year, so you'd think he'd be ahead of Bunn this year. Mm-hmm. Then I'd have Sarkic on the bench.
Yeah.
To give him experience. Bunn learns nothing being on the bench because, with all due respect to him, that's where he's been most of his career.
Yeah.
For Sarkic, it's a big deal being involved in match day squads. Would help prepare him for his future career because he's highly rated. Mm-hmm. Sarkic, and he was part of a successful side. Actually, got a look about him that I quite like. Sarkic looks like a good keeper. I don't know why. Just the way he looks. I look at him and I think you're a good goalkeeper.
He saved a couple of penalties, didn't he, in the 23s playoff run and the cup run, and he has a good presence about him.
Yes, when you just look at someone, you think you're going to be good at something.
Yeah.
Like you look at Jack Grealish, and if you've never seen him play, you'd look at him and you'd think, well, yeah, he's a good footballer.
I've got a guy at work who you'd look at and go, he's absolutely terrible, and he's class.
Really?
It's the exact opposite.
Football?
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose you look at Peter Crouch and you don't think, baller.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah, he really is.
What a baller. I'd have Peter Crouch back.
If there's one player that you're excited to see from the under 23s or the kind of the peripheries, who's the one that you're excited about to go, yes, you could make this season quite exciting and I'm looking forward to seeing you?
Hepburn Murphy, I think.
Right.
I think he goes a little bit under the radar because he was behind. He gets, again, another one who's been injured too much. Signed that new contract and he feels like he's been injured pretty much ever since. I think if he gets a chance and gets a run, I think he'll score goals. I think he's a bit different. Mm-hmm. A runner with the ball, can carry the ball. I think he's just a genuine goal scorer. So I think everyone obviously talks about O'Hare. We've already seen a fair bit of Davis. Mitch Clark as well. Actually, I hear good things about him. We may as well have a youngster as the fourth choice centre-back this season. And in fairness, they very rarely get used. Mm-hmm. Don't know. I mean, Samba was third or fourth choice last season.
Had a nice little cameo.
Yeah, but Terry and Chester played the majority of the season. It depends what happens with Chester as well.
Yeah.
So it depends who goes.
Yeah.
If we suddenly shift 3 or 4 people and don't buy anyone, the youngsters are going to have to play.
Yeah.
But as is, I still don't see many of them playing.
Yeah.
Andre Green, but again, another one that gets injured too much. But Andre Green's the one who we really could do with stepping up and giving us a bit of an X factor, because I imagine Adoma's going to move to the right now, and now play Green back on the left.
I'll tell you what worries me about Andre Green is not him at all, but the way that the fans were so excited about him, and then he had a couple of spells where he maybe didn't finish. It feels like a bit like Raheem Sterling at the moment, where Raheem Sterling's getting an awful lot of grief.
I don't know why.
For creating some amazing chances and doing some brilliant things, and yet the fans are, or some of the fans, the loud ones essentially on social media, are all on Sterling all the time. It felt a lot like that last season with Andre Green, and then he got injured for ages, and people were lamenting the fact that he couldn't play again. So I really hope that this season is going to be. It feels to me like it's shaping up to be a backs to the wall job, and
maybe that'll surprise us.
I hope so, because
there's still some good players there. As I say, we start the season tomorrow. At this stage, at this moment,
yeah,
I'd be quite happy because we'd still have Grealish.
Massively, yeah. There are some exciting players, and the young players as well. I really, my hope for this season is that the fans that have been calling for the young players all last year don't then suddenly turn on these young players when they have a couple of bad games, or
you'd like to think they'd be a nous, wouldn't you? If it was a young team, you'd like to think they'd have some consideration that this championship's hard and this is their first time.
You would.
In the championship. With Andre
Green,
have
more faith in people
and expectations, I like to think lessons have been learnt from Grealish.
Right.
Because this time last year there was a lot of people saying, "Oh, you can't build a team around Grealish. He'll let you down. He'll never do it. Players take time." And now all our fans love him and they're talking like he's the best thing in the world. But even last summer, people would say you can't build a team around Grealish, you can't rely on him. So there does need to be an element of patience. Andre Green is a very good footballer and will be a very good footballer who's just had problems with injury. So you've got to remember, because of his injury problems as well, he's probably behind where he should be or in his development phase. So I hope there's been lessons learned from last season with Grealish.
Yeah, we are going to talk about in the coming weeks the Portugal time, obviously the pre-season schedule and stuff like that, but I think that's probably enough chat on the actual team, unless there's anything else you want to say just now.
I believe we've covered most. I mean, you're the man with the notes.
I have got notes.
So you can tell us whether we've covered most things that you wanted to cover.
That's everything that I've done. Is there anything
I mean, I didn't do any notes.
No notes. Some things never change.
Yeah, there's no point. If you ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. I did actually print out 2 sets of notes by accident.
And then I asked if I could have some in front of me, and he said no. Because I know what. Yeah, I've remembered now.
That's why. This is coming. And
there's a game, apparently.
And you can play along at home. Right, so the new kit.
We're playing the game now?
Well, it's part of the new kit section.
Oh, wow. I don't know how this is going to work, but okay.
Well, you'll see. It's not as exciting as you might think.
I mean, you made it up, so I didn't imagine it was going to be the best thing since sliced bread.
What did you think about the new kit, Dan?
Loved it.
It was announced today. We've got the new home kit, away kit, and new goalkeeper
kit. Very big fan of the home kit.
Do you know what I really like? I love the goalkeeper shirt.
Do you?
Yeah,
I think it's pretty standard, the goalkeeper.
But it reminds me of a traditional green goalkeeper shirt.
All the kits are quite traditional, I would say.
Yeah.
I really liked them. Fair play to Luke Roper. I think that shows you that having a genuine Villa fan doing things is a good idea.
Yeah, and he's you can tell he's a Villa fan because he's incorporated the history into the club. He's got
the McGregor thing on the back.
McGregor on the back. The stripes are the 12 founders. There's 12 stripes on the. I love the collar.
Yeah,
I really.
It's a lovely kit. The home one. I mean, West Ham have got a similar kit to that this season, but ours is just nicer. They've gone for the same colour scheme. Pretty much, they haven't got blue sleeves this season either, West Ham, but our kit just looks classier.
Yeah. So
and no one else will have a kit like us because Luke Roper only makes Villa kits.
Exactly. It's cool. It is cool. It's a cool kit.
Cool's a good word for it.
So
something in my eye. Apologies. You can carry on. It doesn't affect me talking.
So the stripes, the 12 stripes are because of the 12 founders of the Football League.
This isn't part of the test, is it?
This is the test.
Oh, Christ, I'm never going to do this time.
Right, and you can play along at home. It's not just for you, Dan. So,
well, I'm the only one who's going to be making a tit out of myself on camera.
That's true. So there were 12 founding members of the Football League.
This time.
Can you name the 11 that weren't Villa? If you can get 5, I think
I'll be happy with 5.
Yeah.
Burnley?
Yes.
Bolton?
Yes.
Blackburn?
Yes, all the Bs.
Yeah, I've got that area of the country sorted. Wild stab, I'm not sure it's right. Ipswich?
No.
I'm not allowed to get any wrong.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how many we get wrong, but you can have 3 wrong, I reckon. So that's one.
One, thanks. I seem to be just thinking of championship sides. Forest.
You've got a couple more Championship sides in, and no, second one wrong. You're on your last lie.
Damn. I should know. Well, should I know it? I know the Villa are one, obviously.
There's a couple that you probably should know.
You said there's a few Championship ones, so I'm working my way through the Championship in my head. I remember a few years ago they did like the first games of the season. They made sure all the founder members in the Football League were playing each other.
Yeah.
That's how I've got Bolton, Burnley, and Blackburn, because I remember them playing.
Right.
I couldn't for the life of you tell you any of the other teams. I think I'm struggling, Tom. Let me have one more guess just to get one wrong. Leeds.
No. Jump the list. Here we go.
Yeah.
Accrington, Blackburn, Bolton,
I said
Burnley, Derby, Everton.
So I wanted to say Everton, but something was putting me off. Yeah.
Everton, Notts County, Preston, Stoke, West Brom,
Stoke,
and Wolves. See, Stoke and Preston I definitely would have got.
Would you have?
Yeah, before I even looked.
Well, you've graded them out as well.
Yeah,
Even if the notes were in front of me, I could definitely still read that list.
That's why. Because sometimes you've called me out on my incorrect notes before, so I was like, well...
I'm shocked there hasn't been anything incorrect yet, to be honest. First one back, you're doing well.
Those might be wrong.
There's still time. Yeah, let us know in the comments if Tom's got them right, even though he's got them in front of him.
So anyway, that was a little segue away.
What a poor game, wasn't it? I'd rather than a squad numbers game.
Oh, we can go back to that,
Okay.
don't worry. But yeah, anyway, I really liked the collar and the stripes. I thought that looked really cool. And the two sets of claret in the stripes. It looks like a smart bit of kit.
32 red back as well. Good
Yeah.
memories of when they were our sponsor previously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the way that the 32 red doesn't dominate. It's very big, but it's unfancy.
Yeah, I like the material of the badge.
Yeah.
The Villa badge looks like the line's prominent and it stands out and it's ready to roar.
Is your dad going to buy you a kit?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Why not? He doesn't know. He'll be listening. So, yeah, he can buy me a kit.
Nah, nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad.
He got pleased at one of the games last season because Luke Roper recognised him.
Really?
He'd met him before, and he came over and said hello to him. My dad took great joy that Luke Roper recognised him.
That was before the playoff.
Might have been Wembley,
second
actually.
leg.
Yeah, I think it. Oh yeah, you were with me.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't with you. I never
Sorry, you were
made
supposed
it.
to be, but you didn't make it.
Never made it.
Made it to the
Was
game.
late,
though. It was
naturally.
late, and then I had to bail you out and take you back to London.
Oh yeah.
And I've not had a bad journey like that since.
That was awful.
Yeah.
Right. Do you want to hear a little bit about the goalkeeper kit, which makes me laugh?
Yeah.
The Green Giant is what it's called. The Green Giant inspired design uses
I mean, Mark Bunn's in goal. He's not that big.
sublimated dynamic V graphic developed to give the upper body the illusion of elongation, enforcing presence and authority over the keeper's 6-yard box.
Fair.
I mean, that's rubbish, isn't it? That's absolute
No,
rubbish.
it's fact.
There's no way that's fact.
It's a fact.
It's like, who was the goal? I think it was Portsmouth that used to have patches on their elbow, so like they were silver, so players could see them, and like they just flash, so you knew.
They
how
do
to
say that
pass
wearing yellow in penalties helps a goalkeeper because it makes them look bigger.
it. Yeah.
I think there's some truth to that.
There must
probably.
be some sort of sports psychology to it.
Yeah.
I don't buy it, but
Okay.
and would you remember when Man U had the grey kit and then they came out
see.
second half? They changed their kit.
because they couldn't see each other.
Yeah.
They're invisible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
So
they
never.
lost 3-1. So
But then goalkeepers used to have a grey kit.
yeah, that's good if you're a goalkeeper and no one can see you because you just come from nowhere and save it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Although if you do a back pass and you can't see them, that's probably not great.
Yeah, true. What do you think of the training kit? Because everyone seems to be quite happy
I
with
like it. I think training gear should be like that. Like it's a chance to try something that you're probably not going to try in a kit. So it's a strange mix of colours, but I think it works.
I've bought the
You've not messed around, have you?
well, do you know what, actually? I was thinking about this long and hard because I was like, got a baby on the way, probably can't afford to splash out too much. But then I don't buy a season ticket for reasons that we all know.
Laziness.
Mainly.
Tight.
Yeah, that's the main one. But I was like, well, the club is in a bit of trouble here. And
So I'm going to buy a training top, and that will
I've
save the day.
not just bought a training top.
Sorry.
Bought the home kit, the home shirt as well.
Oh, yeah.
I'll probably buy my son something. So I like if I'm gonna, I can't put money into a season ticket because I'm not gonna go. But I am going to put money into the club. So
Okay. I'll get them. I haven't got round to it yet, but I will get.
Well, your dad will.
I will get them.
Yeah.
That's true. My dad will. I wouldn't know, like the prices. I've got to be honest, there probably wasn't as much difference in the price as I expected there would be on the actual shirts. But the training gear and that is a lot cheaper than Under Armour. Like the Anthem jacket that was £110, Under Armour is £50,
Yeah.
and it's just as nice.
Yeah.
So that to me is good. But I did think the shirts would be a little bit cheaper.
Did you?
If I'm being honest, yeah, £50.
That's pretty standard now.
I know it's standard, but I did think because of this innovative deal, I did think it would be a bit cheaper.
Oh, you said that. Yeah, I remember you saying that now. Yeah, well done, Luke Roper. Good job.
They're cheaper than last season anyway, so in that respect, we're saving money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good stuff. You're wearing the Luke Roper
I've got my
apparel.
Luke Roper polo on today. Got a hair on it. Not good in a white because you can a white t-shirt. Although my hair's going so white and grey that soon, if my hair falls off, you will not see it anymore on a white shirt.
Right.
I see your wardrobe's not changed over the summer.
No.
I don't think it might be the same shirt you wore to the last podcast.
That wouldn't be a surprise, would it? I do have a T-shirt in my bag, but it's all wrinkly at this point because I've decided I walk about 25 minutes to work after the train.
Yeah.
Proper sweaty at that point, so I have to wear a T-shirt on the way to work and then change into a shirt when I get there.
So we've not spoke that much in the gaps into podcast because we haven't had anything to talk about. We've not been doing a podcast.
Mainly.
I've forgotten where I'm going again with what I was saying.
We haven't spoken that much.
No, so we haven't spoke. Oh, it's gone.
Really?
Yeah, it's completely
Oh
gone.
my goodness. 50 minutes
It'll
on.
come back to me.
It's like-
I do feel really out of practice tonight. I've done nothing of this ilk since the last podcast.
This is the first pre-season game and you've got cramp twice.
I felt like I was getting better throughout last season. Everything, and now I feel like I'm back at square one.
Back at square one.
Yeah,
That's tough.
Don't feel as good tonight.
Oh.
Maybe it's because it's nice to come in and be positive, and that really we've had to unpick things that are sad.
Yeah.
That probably hasn't helped.
Do you want to talk about something positive?
Yeah.
England at the World Cup.
Oh yeah, love the World Cup.
That's been good.
Even though there's not a game, I like it when the games are every day. I think maybe that's made me feel a little bit more down.
Really?
Because at the end of every day, whatever had happened, you'd thought that's a game on at 7.
That was one of the reasons that we couldn't do a podcast because Spain and Iran were playing, and
I
you
wanted
wouldn't
to watch.
You wouldn't let us do a podcast.
I don't know if I ended up watching it.
See, don't you have to pick your games like when you're allowed to watch them, or and does the rules go out the window?
Probably watched, I'd say, 85% of the World Cup.
I've watched a lot of it, but I've been away, which has been
forget
good.
England, which we'll come on to, which has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
The actual whole World Cup has been so good.
So good.
Because Euro 2016 was poor.
Yeah.
There's too many teams in it.
Yeah.
Teams could come third and qualify for the knockout, so a lot of teams were playing for draws and stuff. This has been an unbelievable World Cup.
Everything about this World Cup. There's been some great goals, some great headers, some interesting penalty shootouts.
Slabhead Harry Maguire.
Harry Maguire.
The players call him Slabhead, don't they?
Do they?
Yeah, that's what I found out today. We've got a guy in our office who's got quite a big head, looks a bit like Harry Maguire. I called him Slabhead around the office today.
That's nice.
He
Nice
took
to
it in good spirits.
The one thing that and I don't usually agree with you on general things, and I don't even know your opinion, but I'm just going to assume it. I think the refereeing's been poor.
Do you?
Yeah. I think there's been, especially
You
with...
think there's an over-reliance on VAR?
I do, actually. Although VAR's come into its own as we've gone on a little bit more.
You sound like an old man factory worker because you used to be a referee and you like VAR coming taking the humans' jobs.
Do you know?
Taking the jobs away from us.
Do you know?
as referees.
Like a miner.
That's what I feel. That's what you're like.
The first couple of games where VAR got things clearly wrong, like it was Mitrovic who got absolutely
There's only been a couple of things
wrestled down. No, there hasn't. There's been a bunch.
Sorry.
There's been a bunch, but they have got better.
The referees have made those mistakes. You wouldn't be saying anything. You'd be going, "Oh, they've got a tough job. We've got a tough job."
Agreed.
Yeah.
But you've got 5 people sitting in a booth.
Wearing the gear. What's that all about?
They got cards in their pocket.
They probably work in a similar environment to this.
Yeah.
It looks a bit similar, doesn't it?
But the point is, you've got 5 people going, "Oh my God, he's just wrestled him down to the
Could
ground."
have a difference of opinion.
No penalty. I just don't think that's on.
The one when Henderson got headbutted and they all looked at it and were like, no, that's nothing wrong with that.
That was that's kind of where I'm talking about with the poor refereeing, because that guy, the referee there, gave some very strange decisions. Sanchez could have been sent off, wasn't. Jordan Henderson himself could have been sent off for his terrible headbutt. The other guy could have been sent off. And yet he booked people for random things.
Yeah.
It's like, if you've seen it, it's got to go.
Carlos Sanchez just hadn't changed from his final season at Villa, the relegation
He's had
season.
a poor
He was
World
an
Cup.
absolute loose cannon, wasn't he? He'd not changed one bit.
Very, very, yeah.
He said he badmouthed Villa a little bit. He did badmouth Villa a little bit onto the lead up to the tournament about how many managers he had there, and they didn't see the best of him because of that.
Well, I mean,
and then he was an absolute kamikaze.
Yeah, he was awful. I thought that Falcao wasn't good in that game. A lot of lip from Falcao.
That game was a joke.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Villa. Villa.
England.
Let's talk about England. Oh, please, let's talk about England. Well, Villa are fairly well represented at England, just formally.
Oh yeah, no, not that.
Yeah, not right now.
Not now, mate.
But obviously led by the one and only Gareth Southgate as well, who seems to have just come into his own in this wave of popularity.
I always liked him. I remember when he came back with Villa.
Yeah.
So he came back with Middlesbrough. And everyone was booing him, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I was like, I'm not going to boo Gareth Southgate.
Yeah.
He's a lovely gentleman.
Yeah, but the general population, maybe Villa fans aside, weren't a fan of Gareth Southgate. And I remember when he got the job, everyone was like, what's gone on here? This is terrible. This is an awful decision. And now he's the hero.
Oh, everyone loves him now,
It's
don't
brilliant. I love the World Cup for that, for uniting people. It's been awesome.
I mean, he's done an unbelievable job. We have been absolute no-hopers in almost every tournament in recent memory. We're getting knocked out by Iceland. World Cup before that, didn't get out of the group. We've been a disaster area, haven't we? And there's no egos in that England team. He's picked players that deserve to be there. Previous managers would have 100% taken Jack Wilshere.
Yeah.
They'd have been like, we're a bit short in central
Joe Hart.
midfield. Yeah, Joe Hart would have been there, probably in goal.
Yeah.
I mean, and Pickford's been excellent.
I wouldn't have been surprised if Rooney had been on the bench.
Yeah, they've all been excellent.
Yeah.
It's a real team that everyone, you can hang your hat on it and say, I like that team.
And it feels like there's a team spirit there. Like we saw that last year with Villa. But the players seem to be banded together. There's a ITV, I think, tweeted a video of Gareth Southgate coordinating people singing "Southgate, You're the One," and I don't need to listen to the sound. Just seeing him smile and doing this just melts my heart.
I mean, he must have some belief in himself, but even he probably can't believe how well he's done. I was quietly confident about England. I thought we'd do decent. I probably didn't think we'd get to the semi-finals playing Croatia for a chance to be in the World Cup final. I never thought I'd see these scenes of being in the semi-final, and I was positive going into the tournament. I liked the side, I liked the squad he picked, and felt we had a decent chance of doing something. But we've got a good chance of winning it now, which is unbelievable and something I never thought I'd say in my lifetime.
It's very exciting.
Yeah,
and the best thing about it, I've got England in the sweepstake.
Have you?
Yeah.
I had who do I have? Iran.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Really annoyed.
That came at the worst time for you as well.
It came after the playoffs, and I was like, just forget football. England has really, and the World Cup in general, has really made me in love with football again.
Yeah.
All ready to be spoilt by Villa at the start.
Listen, we're going to come back. It's going to be pre-season, and we're going to make the best of it, because that's what football is essentially, isn't it?
Maybe sometimes when there's like a saying, those that have no expectation can never be disappointed.
It's probably not a saying, that, is it?
It's something like that.
Right.
So if we have no expectation going into the season, we can't be disappointed.
Should we try and do a few questions?
Yeah, please. As we did ask for them, it would be a bit harsh to ask for questions and then not use any of them.
Just before you sent out that tweet saying, asking for questions, I was going to text you saying, don't bother asking for questions, there's too much to talk about.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But that was my poor planning. Let's start with Scott Ward. Do you think this team is good enough to get us into the Premier League? So, Jed Steer in goal. Bree, Elphick, Chester, Hutton. Green, Jedinak, Hurahan, Adoma, Codger and Hogan up front. There's obviously no Jack Grealish in there.
No, I mean that's not a million miles away from the team in our first that ended the first season.
And we didn't go up.
Mm-hmm. So I think it could get you near, but I don't think it would ultimately.
Codger has to score a hatful of goals.
Yeah, he has to be 20 and Hogan has to be getting towards what he was doing at Brentford.
Yeah.
So I should say, when we were talking about Hogan, I think if he actually was playing for Sheffield United, I think he'd score a lot of goals.
Yeah.
The way they play football.
Villa till we die. Do we really need a new goalkeeper? Talked a little bit about him, and we will talk about the young players. I think
goalkeeper's a position I think you can chance will be okay with what we've got and maybe prioritise other positions.
The two Rons, is retaining Bruce for stability this season the correct decision? Can he adapt? Can he? Oh, this is good. Can he adapt approach RE integration and development of youth?
That Tony.
It's the two Rons.
What's his username?
Tony
Lloyd.
Oh, yeah,
good guy,
Tony.
That, good guy, Tony Lloyd.
Yeah,
Tony and Reece. Spent a bit of time with them after Millwall away. We had a good time. Yeah, good lads.
Good.
Yeah, just thought I'd say.
You're not going to answer the question.
What was the question again?
Can he adapt his approach RE integration and development of youth?
I think he's going to have to. I hope he's going to have to. But I don't think there was any other option than him, because I don't think he was ever going to leave, and I don't think he was ever going to get the sack. hopefully he'll do a good job for us this season. He didn't do a bad job last season, did he? He didn't get us promoted. As I say, that's a failure. Bruce would say himself. That's a failure, but he did not do a bad job last season. But I understand why people are frustrated with what happened.
Yeah.
And I get that people don't like him. I can see that he does things that frustrate people. I think it's probably split down the middle 50-50 with Villa fans with Bruce.
Yeah.
I think there's those that really, really back him, and I think there's those that will never back him. So I think it's interesting. But I'd say social media, you see a lot of Bruce hatred. When you're at the game, you don't see any.
Yeah. Good. AI, or it might be Al, I'm not sure. How would we have got through this summer if the World Cup hadn't been on?
It'd have been a struggle if I hadn't had to think about Villa.
Yeah.
Yeah, the World Cup I've really, really enjoyed.
Do you think we would have come back earlier? Because we would have just.
Well, we tried. In fairness, we should say we did try and come back earlier, but we had booth issues a couple of times, didn't we? Where we couldn't get the booth, so you can't do a podcast if you haven't got a booth.
Benjamin Minot says he's so excited for season 2.
So he's coined the season 2 there. That season 2 is going to catch on.
Yeah, Benjamin Minot's probably stopped listening.
I didn't even check with Rollo that was what he wanted to do. He might have been like, no, let's just carry on with episode 50 something that we're on. But I've made a big decision. I've not checked with Rollo. We'll see what he thinks.
Yeah, let's see.
It's there now, whatever happens.
Benjamin asked Grealish, Chester, etc. staying or going.
Don't know. I'd say probably going.
Probably going. If Chris Powell, if it's to be as expected.
Former Charlton Athletic left back, Chris Powell.
Chris Powell played left back?
Yeah.
Okay.
He had a brother called Darryl Powell that played for Derby.
All right.
Yeah,
Did Darryl Powell play up front?
No, he's midfielder.
I feel like one of the Powells played up front.
No.
No. Okay. Good. I just shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah, you nearly got through a whole podcast without being an idiot, and you've not managed to do it.
Absolutely didn't.
It's almost like you, in your head, you were like, "Come on, Tom, you haven't said anything stupid yet. Just ask a random question about Chris Powell being a left back."
I did talk about my wife's weird feet.
Yeah, I imagine if she decides to listen this 1 week.
Nah, she won't. Chris Powell, if it's to be as expected and we sell our asset players, how excited are you about the new crop of youngsters coming through?
If everyone cuts them some slack, excited.
Yeah.
But there will be people that don't.
Yeah. Villan 1982. Glad to see you boys back at work. Lazy feckers, I thought. I thought Dr. Tony sacked us as well. Hasn't sacked us.
He'd do well to sack
a voluntary podcast.
Yeah. That's when you're volunteering for free. Also, I'd imagine it's difficult to get the sack.
Yeah.
Because you're a volunteer.
That's true.
Unless you do something really stupid.
Yeah, agreed. Oh no, I didn't. Dave Alford, I wonder if Tom J says will get his son the white away shirt or stick to the.
Do you actually get anything for the kid?
Not yet, no.
You didn't? Yeah, okay.
I'm going to wait because, like, with baby gear, right, they wear it very, very little. But I would like to get the first shirt and then I'm going to keep that one. Like,
I'll never let them wear it.
Yeah, of course I'm going to let them wear it.
1 mile on the back.
But they grow up so fast that they probably only have to wear it a couple of times and then it's done. But I quite like to keep it and maybe frame it or something like that.
Get 2. The kit's only £30 a baby one. Get one for them to wear, one to
£30 for
save.
a baby kit. Like, you can get a bunch
Whole
of
kit,
stuff
though,
for like
it?
£1.
Can you?
Yeah.
Oh, you say you've already been down Poundland checking out what to buy your kid. That's why you haven't got a season ticket, because Poundland don't sell them.
Yeah, that's true. Poundland sell them, I'll be in. No, I will not be buying the white kit, but I will buy the home.
Are you going to live by the same rules that your mum had? You're not going to let your kid wear white?
Yeah, I think I am, yeah.
No white England shirt?
Oh,
see,
I did get an England shirt.
Did you? So this is the first time I've not got one in a tournament, and I've done well.
No, sorry, I mean when I was a kid, my mum got me a white England shirt.
Different rules for England, I suppose.
It was weird though, because I got a lot of red kits.
I was going to say she could have got you the red one.
I did get red kits, but I did get one England shirt, or more than one England shirt.
I didn't get one this tournament for the first time. I always get one, and I just thought, they've done so poor, and I've bought these kits and then not worn them again. I won't do it this year, and they've done really well. So now, when they win the World Cup, I'm going to wait, and I'm going to get one that's got 2 stars on it.
Oh, nice.
And then get 6 Southgate on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Would you go out and buy yourself an M&S waistcoat?
M&S waistcoat? No, I don't do M&S.
No.
All my dad's clothes are from M&S because he won't go shopping. So my mum just picks stuff from M&S because obviously she knows his size in M&S. So every garment my dad ever has is from M&S, and I've got to say, one of the shirts he's pulled out recently has been an absolute disgrace.
Oliver Green, what's your opinion on Villa being on Sky nearly every week?
I'm not happy with the Monday start.
No.
I like the excitement of the first day. So we've got to wait Like someone plays on a Friday and we've got to wait till Monday to play our game. And it's away at Hull, which isn't exactly an exciting game to put on the telly, is it?
No, it's not.
No, especially for bad memories of us going to Hull last year. That dreadful 0-0.
Yeah. I remember listening to it on the radio.
I mean, actually, we've not. If you look at the opening weeks of fixtures, we haven't actually really been put on there, have we? On the Sky fixture list, we're barely on there.
On the what?
We're barely on. Like, they've done the fixtures for the first 5-6 weeks, end up to the end of September, I think.
We're not on there.
And we're not really on Sky that much.
Oh, right, okay.
In the Sky TV.
Yeah, right, okay, sorry. I was like, but they've just forgotten to put us in. The last question, I think we should probably finish on, and a few people asked it, but I can't find anybody. Is it coming home?
Yes. Is it coming home? Are you coming home here?
Well, it is now. Yeah.
I went. I watched the game with my dad because I was in Birmingham. So I watched the game with my dad on Saturday, and then I've had a few mates that were in Sutton. So I went to meet them afterwards. And Sutton, because I hadn't been drinking, I'd never seen anything like it. I felt like I was the only sober person in Sutton Coldfield. Everyone was hammered off their faces, and I was just walking around sober. One of my friends who I hadn't seen in a while, but bear in mind she was at my wedding all day, and I've seen her this year, I would imagine. I was like, all right, Deb. And she was like, Dan. My wife's called Ange. She went, where's Liz? I was like, it was like 3 girlfriends ago. Deb, I was like, do you mean Ange? And she was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'd never seen her like that. She was off her face, like thinking that I was going out with a girl I was going out with in 2007.
But do you ever think about Liz?
No.
Good.
No.
Good answer.
I'm sure she probably doesn't think about me, to be fair.
Right, should we call it a day?
Yeah. You do the outro.
Oh, thank you very much.
Because you put in such a 10 out of 10 display, you can do the outro.
It's a 10 out of 10?
No way. No. I think I'm only at about 2 out of 10, so you're probably on a 1.
Oh, thanks, mate.
No worries.
It's been a long time since we did an outro. Thank you very much for watching, for listening. We very much appreciate it. We're going to start the season afresh. It's going to be an interesting one, so stick with us.
To be fair, it's Villa, they're always interesting.
Yeah.
Something always happens, even if it's a dull season, it's not, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this one's going to be really interesting then. So stick with us. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about over the next few weeks. The transfers, the pre-season, and the general position of the club, and hopefully we're going to find out a little bit more.
Yeah, hopefully things will come clearer
as we go along. As always, if you can give us your comments, give us your questions, whether you agree with us on the kit, on the players, on Jed Steer, all that kind of thing. We'd love to know your comments, and iTunes reviews as well. If you listen on iTunes, that'd be really, really helpful if you can give us a little review. Maybe we should read some reviews out.
There's a couple of horrors in there.
Yeah. Okay.
Stop. Unsubscribe.
Yeah, and not my cup of tea mainly. No. But yeah, if you would like to give us a review, that really, really helps us as well. We're going to be looking at doing a few different videos hopefully this year as well. So we're going to be working on those.
So you made that decision?
Yeah, I have. Okay. Yeah, it's about time somebody took charge of
this. Yeah, someone does need to. To be fair, me and Rollo aren't the best.
So if you have enjoyed this video, make sure you turn your subscribe notifications on with the like button and comment below, and stick with the Villa, stick with the channel, and stick with Dan and me.
That last YouTube bit was like someone who'd never been on a computer before or ever been on YouTube.
Up the Villa.
Subscribe by pressing the like button. If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.